Hey guys, so welcome back to the new video. So today we'll solve monthly transaction problem number 1193. What we have given is a transaction table that have the following column: ID, country, state, amount, and transaction date. ID is the primary key of the table. The table has information about the incoming transaction. So the state is of type enough. It can contain only two values, that is approved and declined. You have to write a SQL query to find for each month and country, the number of transactions and their total amount. Okay, the number of approved transactions and their total amount. You can return the result table in any simple. So a transaction is said to be approved if we have the approved value in the state column. Okay, otherwise it is declined. So for each country and each month, basically we need to get the corresponding. So let me make this big. Yeah. So we need to get the corresponding transaction count, approved count, transaction amount, total amount, and the approved total amount. So let's see with this example of like US in the month of December. Okay. So for this, basically, for this month, basically, what is the transaction count? So how many transactions are done? So two transactions are done. You can see that for this month we have two transactions. Basically, that is with the transaction ID 1 to 1 and 1 to 2. How much transaction is approved? So approved count is 1 because we have state as approved for only one row. Okay, what will be the total transaction amount? Because it will be the sum of these two. So 1000 plus 2000, that is 3000. What will be the approved total amount? That will be 1000 because it will be of the row where the state column has a value of approved. So it will be 1000. Similarly, we can go with the next row, that is with US on Jan 2019 and DE on Jan 2019. So how we will write a query for the same. Okay. So first we need to find out is basically need to find out a month basically. So we need to find out the thing in this format. That's the from the transaction date we need to get the corresponding year and the month. So how we'll get this? So we'll use date underscore format function. Here we will specify from which column when to get the date. So we want to get the date from trans date column basically. In which format we want to get the date. So for format we will specify as percentage y hyphen percentage. Now this will result into the transaction date in this format. It will result the transaction in this format. Like this percentage y stand for year and percentage m stand for month. Okay. So we want this in this format. So we'll take the month. Then we need the country. Okay. And then for the transaction count. Okay, we'll just count the transaction date. That will give you the transaction count as trans count. Okay. Now the next thing we want the approved count. So for approved count, basically what we need to go, we need to sum up basically. Here we use a case statement inside this case when your state, we're checking the state column. The state is approved. Okay, and the state is approved, then 1 else 0. We'll end this. This we will say as approved count. Okay, so what we are doing is this. Generally, we are using sum over here in place of count just because we don't want that 0. If you use a count over here, the 0 will also be counted. We just want only the for the records basically where the count is 1. So here we are checking when the state column has a value of approved, then only that particular transaction is considered as approved transaction. So we are just returning 1, that's why we are returning 0, and we are summing up. So we get the count of the transactions that are approved. Next thing we will do, what we need to find out is the transaction total amount. So for that, basically, we'll just sum up the amount column. So when you just sum up the amount, that will give me transaction total amount. Okay. Next thing we need to find out is the approved total amount. For approved total amount, similar to the above query case when state is equals to approved. Then here we need to get the amount sum of the all amount. So we'll return the amount. Okay, else we will return 0. And this particular case statement as approved total amount. Okay, from which table we are getting this value? From transaction table. Okay, and we need to group by which basically we want this whole query to find for each month and country the number of transaction and their amount, the number of approved transaction and their amount for each month and country. So we will group it by each month and the corresponding country. Okay, so let me run this query. See if we, yeah, so you can see that our query got accepted. The desired output matches with the corresponding expected output. So yeah, so we have what we have done. Let me give you a quick overview of that. Basically, we need to find out these values. We need to find out this column basically. So the month, country, transaction count, transaction total amount, and approved total amount. So for first thing for getting the month basically in this format, that is year hyphen month format, use the date format basically. This function is there in the MySQL. So it's a date format basically. First we will pass the column from which we want to extract the date and in the format that we want to. So here we want the format to be like YM, like year and month. So percentage Y hyphen percentage M. So we get that value as the in this format. That's like year and month, and we store that in the month column. Then we have a country. Then for transaction count, we just count the transaction date. We'll get the transaction count. Okay, for the corresponding month and country. And for the next thing, that is the approved count. Basically, we'll just check where the when the state is approved, then only give me a count of 1, elsewise give return 0 basically, and the sum is this value basically. So we'll get the approved count. Similarly, for total transaction amount, we'll just need to sum up the amount basically and give it a alias as transaction total amount. Then for approved total amount basically, again as we did earlier in the approved count basically, we will just use the case statement where the state is approved, then the particular amount, sum of this amount basically, and that will be written as approved total amount. From the transaction table, we're just grouping it by month and country because we want it for each month with the corresponding country. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.